Okay, so hello everyone. So I've recently come across this video on TikTok. I don't normally use TikTok, but I'm going to see. So this is from Vegangelical269. So this is someone who I've recently found on Facebook, and he's like me, like very anti right wing. He's pro anti intersectionalist, and we're gonna watch this together. I've not seen it yet, but let's watch this together and do my own response to it.
Hi, Doug Moore here, also known as Vegangelical. I just want to address a couple of issues that have come up recently. I'm not here going to talk about Nard. I'm going to do a separate thing about that. But my criticism of Nard as a whole, not of the individuals who are running their events, but of the organisation behind Nard and their platforming of pro-genocide speakers, allegedly.
Yeah, that's not good. If they are supporting genocide, then they shouldn't be speaking. You need to have like people that's going to speak out against it.
I'll do a separate thing on. I just think the fact that I raised it has triggered quite a reaction from particularly the right-wing vegans. I call
Yeah,
them vegans with
right wing vegan. There's no such thing.
inverted commas because they have no idea what veganism is about.
No, they don't.
So firstly, one of the most dangerous things to do is when someone criticises something is to try and equate that criticism with being divisive.
Right.
If you can't criticise things, things drift towards totalitarianism, dictatorships. That
And you have to call it out. It's not divisive to call out a genocide, to call out babies being burned in refugee camps. How is that divisive? It's all in veganism. So if you say, oh yeah, we can't talk about cows being slaughtered because it's divisive. No, you're not going to say that, are you?
that kind of thing. So it is not divisive to be critical.
No,
It's
it's not.
essential to remain critical, and I'm
Absolutely.
always critical of anything I see that undermines veganism and the foundations of veganism. So where does that leave us? We got people like George Martin.
He's the worst. This is a person I was talking about the other day, yesterday. Carnism debunked. George Martin. He's an absolute arsehole. He spoke about George Floyd recently, saying that the police didn't kill him, and saying he's apparently he's a transphobic as well. I'm not actually seeing him being transphobic, but I have heard about him being that. But in general, he's quite a right wing bigot, very anti intersectionalist.
Of Carnism Debunked, who's well-known right-wing, comes out
More like anti intersectionalist debunked.
with misogynistic stuff, with
Yep.
racist stuff, with any ism you can think of, and he calls himself anti-woke.
Yeah. As you do, anti woke, like the rest of the right wing.
And anti-intersectional, and they use terms like woke and intersectional as bad words,
Yeah,
and
we
it's
do.
about time we reclaim them words because they're
It
not
is.
bad words.
We need like it was in the 60s and 70s, the ALF and what it's Hunt South. It's always been intersectionalist. They've always been very left wing, Antifa, what have you. Most of the ALF people, they are very left wing, anti-racist, anti-bigotry, and what have you. And these right wingers are coming along, taking it all over. It's not good, and people being influenced it as well. It's not good.
They are absolutely what the movement has always been about and should always be about.
Hmm.
There's a growing rise of people who call themselves animal-only vegans.
Yeah, that's another thing. You have animal. They don't. It's like fuck human rights. It's all about the animals. non-human animals particularly. So if they don't care if you're a racist or a Nazi or whatever, as long as you're there for the animals, fuck human rights. That's basically their attitude. It's not good. It's not, no. And there's a lot of them are racist as well.
And they totally misunderstand what it is to be vegan.
It is, we do.
Principles of the founding fathers and mothers of veganism, and the essential tenets of the aims and objectives of the vegan movement.
Like the ALF, I think they're one of some principles of they never hurt people and that. They do like property damage at most, and they always care about humans, and they always fight for humans. If you know what I mean.
So let's correct them.
And like your shirt, by the way.
Put them right, because all they're doing is they are creating division by trying.
They are. It's not just division, but hate, absolute bullying, fascism, and so on. And maybe like people like Walter Bond. I remember seeing heard about. He was in prison. There was an article about him, an offensive animal, and he was like a proper Nazi. People like Aaron Matai, who used to let fascists onto marches. Remember him? I think he used to do the dogs for us stuff. 269, DXC, some of them were very animals only, NHF, non-humans first. It's not good. It makes it so toxic that sometimes makes the animal rights movement very unwelcome, especially to left-wing human rights. All bigotry makes it feel unwelcome for people like me to be involved, if you know what I mean, yeah. So anyway, carrying on.
Trying to water down the meaning of veganism. They're attackers for speaking out on other social justice issues, when in essence veganism is a movement that aims to end oppression and exploitation of
all beings, not just animals, all beings.
All beings,
yes.
All humans as well.
So as I said that before, he even said it's all humans, whether you're gay, straight, Palestinian, Aboriginal, what have you, slavery, you name it.
Well, as well as all other non-human animals.
Yes.
So it's anti-exploitation and pro-justice.
Because humans are animals, humans get exploited all the time, as we're seeing in genocide. But oh no, let's not talk about that. We've got to talk about the animals. There's a genocide going on. So, yeah, you get my point.
And pro-liberation. So that is the essence of the complaint. So people like George and his acolytes, they will attack anyone who tries to draw.
Hold on a second. What is that word he said? Acolytes. A person, yeah, it's like there's like their followers. Like Cain and all them lot. Like Nilf. And so on.
Back to the original meanings because it doesn't serve their purpose.
And then there's the ones with these kind of people, they're probably some of the same people that say, oh, let's go and kill lions. Let's go and eat oysters. So hypocritical.
They want us to be anti-woke, anti-intersex.
No, not a chance. Pro-woke, pro-intersectionalism, pro-human rights, anti-bigotry, anti-exploitation, fuck oppression, everything else. Just call it all out. It's not just about animals, it's about everything.
Sectional, because it feeds into the right-wing agenda.
It is. It's weird. They say it's all about the animals, but if you're right-wing and you support genocide, you support Israel, you support racism, but it's not about the animals, is it? Huh? It's not a coincidence that anti-intersectionalism is actually a euphemism to be right wing. It's an excuse, basically.
And then we're divided. We're not aligned with our friends in the Black Lives Matter movement,
Right.
for example, or other anti-racist movements. We're not aligned with our friends in the LGBTQI plus communities.
I'm an asexual, LGBT, asexual and proud.
We're not aligned to our friends who are in Women's Lib. We're not aligned to our friends who are anti-genocide. We're not allied to our friends in any other form of pro-justice, pro-liberal.
And this really annoys me about the Palestine demos. So I go to sometimes I might go to the We Free when it's on. That doesn't come on very often. The We Free, you know what I mean. Whenever I go to the Palestine demos, I'm probably like the only vegan there, but you don't see many of the animal rights protesters doing non-human protests, if you know what I mean. It's a bit annoying that I'm probably one of the only one in Plymouth, at least. Maybe one or two, but occasionally. But yeah, and the XR stuff as well, like climate protests, which sometimes you might see a few vegans on that.
Liberation,
anti-austerity,
anti-oppression, anti-exploitation movement. When we're
and then again, I've been anti-oppression anyway, even before I was vegan. So I think that gives me kind of a bit of an edge, if you know what I mean.
Aligned with them, we're a hell of a lot more powerful. And
that's
we are.
What
we should be. We should be aligned to them. So,
always. I am aligned, always. I'll never stop speaking that for them. I don't give a fuck what people say.
Let me give you a couple of definitions here. So veganism is one thing and one thing only. A way of living which avoids exploitation, whether of our fellow men, the animal population, or the soil on which we rely for our very existence.
I'm not too familiar with that definition.
Oppression and liberation are entangled things. Some people call that intersectionality. That's
yes, it is.
What it is. That's so what.
That's veganism to the core. Why can't these fucking idiots see that? Duh!
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
intersection is exactly what vegans are supposed to be.
Absolutely.
The vegan aim combines compassionate non-exploitation of other animals with an emancipated vegan self and a more compassionate human society.
And then again, when you got all these idiots like George Martin and what have you, it's really hard to be compassionate when you got people like that slagging you off, and I'm calling them that you're a Nazi apologist, you're a right-wing fascist. That takes away the compassion from me when I'm calling these out. It's not, and then they're having to go at me, then I have to go at them, and it's like you can't win, can you?
Vegan ethics from the outset was directed towards these interconnected goals. Mm-hmm. Animals-only veganism is a polar opposite of these values.
We shouldn't have this animals-only veganism. It's not good at all. Animals first, animals only, not humans first, however you want to word it. You can be before the animals, but if that's your passion, but let people who want to speak for human rights do that. You can be for the animals and be for the humans as well. And here's the kicker. Humans are animals. Mind blown.
Values that the radicals who started the movement set up. It reduces and limits the meaning of veganism. Veganism, according to Donald Watson, was far bigger than any other movement. It's all-encompassing because
Also, if you want to learn more about people like Donald Watson and what have you, read Roger Yates, like him and Ronnie Lee, who I know very well. They're very good intersectionists. They are not anti. Roger Yates, Ronnie Lee, what's his name? Frankie Vegan. They're pro-intersectionists. They're pro-human rights. And probably Animal Liberation TV, Max Watson. He's a good one as well. Jill Phipps. You know, all these hardcore activists from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Very left wing. Socialists, communists. I mean, I'm socialist. Even though probably some proper socialists probably say I'm social democrat, but yeah, I identify as socialist. That is what veganism is, a socialist movement. Like, I think that some videos, because on Facebook you get like Ronnie Lee, you can YouTube as Catherine Klein, probably a few of us. They always say like it's veganism is political. It's left wing. It's not. There's no such thing as a right wing vegan and yada yada. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, just keep carrying on.
Without veganism, you can't free humans either. So veganism has
See,
always
now hold on a
been
second. That looks weird. The way his lights shining on your sunglasses. Sorry, I just noticed. Looks weird. That is. You know, like your library anyway. You know your these not masks or something, and these things hanging on your ceiling. That looks really good. That does. So anyway, I was going off topic a bit. Let's go back a bit. Let's watch it.
It reduces and limits the meaning of veganism. Veganism, according to Donald Watson, was far bigger than any other movement.
Yes.
It's all encompassing, because without veganism, you can't free humans either. So veganism has always been holistic. It's always been about human
Of course, yeah.
oppression.
And like that, I don't know if you can see the shirt I've got on. Here it says, on the top it says animal liberation, human liberation. It's got like a paw, and it's got a hand like this, actually. It's basically animal and human. And what's it? There's a chant, actually, what had to go. One struggle, one fight, human freedom, animal rights. Human freedom, animal rights. Intersectionalism.
As well as non-human oppression. It's just far bigger than any other movement. And
absolutely. Because it's not as big as it was. Well, it's sort of big, but not the same way as it used to be. But back then, probably we need to bring back those days. Bring back the days of intersectionalism. Call out this bullshit from George Martin and what have you.
And if you water it down to being animals only, you're doing the opposite of what the founding principles of veganism were. By trying to make intersectional a bad word and accusing those with those who've got consistent anti-oppression and pro-liberation ethics of being woke, those with that.
So you're anti-oppression, pro-liberation of animals, non-human animals, but you're not for humans. How does that work? How can you be anti-oppression for animals but not for humans? Or is it just does it make sense?
I should just say that's another term that's been hijacked by the right wing. If you look at the definition of woke, the proper definition, it's a good thing.
To be like Kathy Burke. I'd rather be woke than an ignorant fucking twat. That's what she said on her Twitter, Kathy Burke. And then she goes, "Oh, be woke, everyone. Be woke. Do it. Be woke."
And we should all be woke in that sense.
We should.
It's been hijacked by right-wing commentators and picked up by people who want to serve that right-wing agenda. So by accusing those people who are standing up consistently for their ethics of that, those right-wingers are doing three things. They're creating a division
Yeah.
where there never used to be one. They are weakening the movement because it can't be all encompassing if
They're weak themselves.
it's only a single issue movement.
So what about single issue? So you got, let's see, so if you got your slaughterhouses, you got your fox hunting, you got your horse racing, greyhound racing, foie gras, and everything else related. But sometimes I say, oh, each of those, they're single issue, but it's all connected. Even that in itself, those different animal groups, badger call, fox hunting, farmhouses, horse racing, that's intersectionalism in a way. Then why not move that to humans as well? Huh? Honestly, some people are so it's so obvious. God, this he's right on this, guys. Right on.
And they're giving excuses to pro-discriminatory prejudices that we
Yeah.
don't want to see inside of the movement.
No.
So they're the biggest problems with it. When I hear
Even groups like an unoffensive animal and animal liberation, that thinks this fascism has no place in the animal rights movement at all.
people say, well, you're being speciesist for not tackling, for example, I was on an anti-genocide demonstration outside Downing Street last night.
Oh, nice.
With lots of people.
I've not been there for a while. I would love to go back down to London, whether it's for the animal rights march or for the anti-austerity Palestinian stuff. It's been really good there, to be honest. Being in Plymouth, it's obviously too far. And whenever there's a coach there, it's about that really early in the morning. I used to be able to do it when I lived in Coventry, but not really anymore. But mind you, the Plymouth rallies have been quite good sometimes. We haven't got round to the encampments yet, university, but we're working on it. We'll get there. But yeah, I'd love to go to London again. I've seen all the footages from London and Paris and New York. It's been wonderful. Honestly, I'd love to have been there.
Who were supporting the Palestinian cause and trying to end the brutal occupation and bombing by Israel. And I was accused by George Martin of being speciesist because
fuck off.
He said
George Martin can shut the fuck up, sit down, and just, how is speaking up against oppression speciesist? George Martin just shut the fuck up. What's he doing, eh? What's he? Anyway, yeah. Well, luckily, I've blocked him on Twitter. I've messaged him a few times. He's saying a lot of shit about George Floyd and what have you. George speciesist. Oh, but if you master cows, oh, that's being speciesist towards chickens. Oh, you're talking about sheep. Oh, but you're being speciesist against chickens. Seriously.
I wasn't challenging them and going into that march to turn them all vegan.
That's not the point. The point of a march is to end the genocide. I think the last thing on the people in Gaza's mind is going vegan when they're being blown up to pieces by the fucking IDF moral army bullshit. No. I'm sorry, but there's a time and a place, like, what's that thing Professor Oak says? Oh, there's a time and a place for this, but now it's not the time, or what have you. Yeah, that's good. You could give them vegan information, but I think they're more, the more, I can't even speak properly. They're more focused on trying to stay alive from a bombing than going vegan and yet.
It was the wrong context to do that.
Yes,
and
it was.
It's also incredibly naive and stupid of him to think that the vegan movement is that all movements are as good and as all-encompassing as the vegan movement.
What? More than what? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what he said.
And them all vegan. It was the wrong context to do that. And It's also incredibly naive and stupid of him to think that the vegan movement is that all movements are as good and as all-encompassing as the vegan movement.
All movements are good as encompassing in the vegan movement. I'm not sure I follow.
Vegan movement, as I said, is holistic and it encompasses everything.
Right. Does he mean to say that you have to go to human rights marches and put vegan messages out? I'm guessing that's probably what he's saying. Maybe sometimes that in that context of the, like you're saying with the garden, I think they're more focused on trying to stay alive and going vegan at that particular moment.
We go into and ally ourselves with all other social justice movements, and from within them, we then have those conversations about turning them vegan and about the consistency of approach and the strength in unity.
Right.
That all social justice movements combined would have a massive impact. So we go into those movements because we're so aligned with them and because we understand as vegans the interconnected issues of oppression and exploitation and liberation. That gives us an insight that we can take into all of these other social justice movements. And that's why we should stand up and show that vegans actually do care about all these other issues.
Of course.
Because if we don't, that makes us shallow and it makes us hypocritical.
It makes us look really bad. It makes us look like we don't give a fuck. Like some people, to me, in fact, felt like they don't give a fuck about people. Oh, we only care about the animals, though, fuck human rights. Like I was saying in my last video, that's how it felt like. And then they felt like they were bullying me because I care about human rights and I speak out for them, if you know what I mean, yeah? Also.
And we can't be seen as consistent with our ethics. I went vegan in 1996.
Wow. 1996, that's, what do I know? Nearly 30 years ago. Yeah, 28 years. 96. I went vegan in 2016. Although it felt like I should have been doing. I have a chance to do it soon, probably. But I was living in different circumstances. So yeah, 2016. That's 8 years. Back then, 96 probably been a lot more relevant to intersectionalism and what, yeah. But 2016 was the big boom, in a way. And since then, that's when all the influence came through.
Like 28 years ago this July.
Yeah.
Now, I am not going to stand by while some trumped up little right-wing YouTuber tries to accuse me of being speciesist. I've been fighting for animals.
And how long George Martin been vegan for, anyway? Probably around the same time as me. Maybe a bit less. Either way, no excuse.
For decades, I've been on the front line as a saboteur. I've been involved with liberations.
Yeah, I've been involved in the Sabs a few times. Although I'm not. I don't think I'm really fit enough to keep up with them in that. They do a lot of good work, the Sabs and the liberationists. I mean, if I could drive, if I had a car and that myself, I would probably do it myself. I'd go out there, just get the animals out the shitty farms and liberate them. I'd love to do something like that.
Arrested countless times for direct action, and as far as I can see, all these right-wing YouTubers do is share content on social media, which is important. Don't get me wrong, it's very important.
Of course, yeah.
It helps people to become vegan, great.
As long as you're not trying to spread right-wing propaganda at the same time. and say, oh, it's only all about the animals and what have you.
But it's also disingenuous to say that that's all it's about,
Right.
because there's a nasty side to it.
Yes.
All this, I've seen posts by George that are anti-Black Lives Matter, anti-women's rights, anti-trans rights, anti the movement against genocide.
Yeah.
He's dangerous. These kind of views are
very dangerous. He's probably one of the worst out there at the moment. And he's got like, I don't know how many followers he's got, but he's got quite a few. And people are all like saying, larping this sort of thing. Oh yeah, you're doing a good job. Oh yeah, you called out the woke. Fuck off. You didn't call out shit.
Harmful and toxic. And there are lots of people who've reached out to me to say, oh, he said this or he said that. I'm not going to name anyone. All you've got to do is scroll through his stuff. It's obvious. Yes, he's saying some good things about animal rights, but he's also making our movement weaker and divided and creating an environment that breeds toxicity. And I'm not going to stand by while our movement's hijacked by these right-wing shills, because that's all they are. They're infiltrating the movement, trying to...
They are infiltrators. Absolutely. And some of these other ones like Avi and Nutrivore, I think they're quite right-wing as well. But then again, they're probably not even vegan anyway, like Nutrivore, Fakerivore, who eats oysters and says it's vegan when it's not, goes out, wants to go kill predators and... Well, it's not predator, yeah. We are predators for animals. Oh, and predators are sentient, by the way, Nutrivore. They're sentient. I thought you was going to oysters to be sentient. Lions are sentient. Didn't you know that? Pathetic.
Turn us against each other with their dangerous right-wing rhetoric. And it's about time we reclaimed the movement for what it's supposed to be.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't around back in the day, but I would have loved to see what it was like. I mean, I've been vegan 8 years, but I want to see it. Proper ALF type veganism. Proper anti-oppression, anti-bigotry, against all bigotries. Call the whole lot out. And call these fake vegan right-wing bullshitters out. And tell them that they're the ones who aren't vegan. They're the ones who's been divisive and what have you.
We care about all oppression.
Yes, we do.
We care about
absolutely
all liberations, and we will fight for them all, and we will win, and we won't lose to a bunch of right-wing tossers.
Hopefully sooner than later.
So if you want to actually debate me in a proper format, not on your YouTube channel where you can create the right environment to get all your acolytes backing you, I happily do it. But I challenged you to that over a year ago and you backed down. You backed down because you couldn't leash your support, who were just making very nasty personal comments. I noted that people are attacking personally other people who stood up against you. It's how you work. It's how any criticism within this movement of the right works. They get their fanboys and fangirls to target people who criticise them because they're so far up their arses that they have no idea what they're talking about. Actually examine what these people...
Proper stands. Their proper stands are so far up their arses. They just think, oh yeah, it's George Martin. Fuck off.
People say, and the dangerous things they're in favour of. Because the future of our movement is at stake.
It is.
We need to stand up and defend it.
Good vid, Veldem. Well said. And he's right. We need to get rid of these right-wing vegan nutters. Get all out, take a stand, and reclaim the vegan movement. Reclaim it's for both animals and humans, and none of this animals only bullshit. Anyway, I am, but I do feel a lot better than I was this morning. There is still the case of me trying to get back in the Discord server, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. Anyway, have a nice day.